How old are your kids?
So my son is
I know where we're
three and a
going.
half, about to turn 4, and my daughter just turned 2, and then my wife is due in August.
Okay. Now, Rob, how old is Maddie now?
Maddie's 6.
Maddie's 6. Okay, so the discussion, we're going to shift gears a little bit. So the discussion, I just posed the question, how old should your kids be before you let them watch The Passion, and should it be different for? Oh, let me just see something. Hold on, guys. Oh, Father Jason said he'd come on with us.
That'd be
Father
interesting.
Jason said he'll come on with us.
Did he message you on Twitter or something?
No, he texted me, and he texted me Father Jason's number.
Oh, Matt did? Okay.
I'm sorry, guys. Just give me a sec here.
Well, you text back. Someone says if Christian ever has a defensive gun use, this clip will be played at the trial.
I know, which is this is why I hesitate. My you know how those public prosecutors are. They'll find anything to nail a white boy on a defense charge.
Yeah, if I decide to carry a 10mm instead of 9mm, well, then I'm
So
screwed.
if I text you, delete the stream. You know which stream I'm talking about.
Okay, so I just met Father Jason Sharon, and I think we're going to get him on. So
you just met him. You just texted him. You didn't meet him.
Yeah. Like Matt introduced me to him. So okay. Now I posed a question on Twitter. How old do you think your kids should be before you let them watch The Passion, and should it be different for boys and girls? Rob had an interesting take, which I didn't even consider. And then so Rob, throw your take out, because I thought it was interesting. I didn't consider it, but go ahead and throw yours.
So I guess first off, I would say, yeah, I mean, you got to use prudence, right? And it's going to vary by kid. But my general rule of thumb is like, if your kid is old enough or capable of committing mortal sin, they should also be old enough to understand what that sin does to Christ, right? Mm-hmm. So that's kind of like my general rule of like, if I think my son is able to commit mortal sin, he should see in the most accurate way we have possible of really what that sin cost Christ, and really then see how much Christ loves him, because that's really what it is in the end. Yeah. And I don't think you can really understand that love unless you really understand the cost of sin.
So Rob originally texted me before I even shot it out on Twitter. The reason I shot it out on Twitter, because Rob said, I think I'm going to let Maddie watch The Passion this year. And my initial instinct was, might want to wait till the age of reason. Because that's just because that's what I chose to do, but doesn't mean I'm right. It's just, that's what I chose to do.
My thinking is that he's not like, he's not 7, right? So he hasn't gone through confession and communion, but I think he's at the age of reason for him personally.
Yeah, you'll know your own son for sure, right? Like you do know if your own son is capable.
When he does something wrong, I see, once he realizes, right? Once it clicks in his head, I can see how much he despises what he did. And it's not because, even like I'll see that hit him before I even tell him like I'm upset at you or I'm disappointed in you. I see it just hit him by itself, and I'm like, well, I'm pretty sure that means he's at that age of reason then.
So my son, I let him watch it at 7, but I also told my son there was no Santa Claus at 6. Like my son was pretty advanced where I could tell him stuff, and like he was but my daughters, I let my older daughter watch it when she was 10. Because I kind of knew she wasn't ready for it. And even when she watched it at 10, she had horrible nightmares.
Anthony is saying women are less rational.
Yeah, less rational, more sensitive.
That is a distinctively feminine trait, though, and I think that's something important in raising daughters. Like, I mean, that's not even like, we're not in the public sphere, really in the public sphere now. We're kind of behind the curtain.
Yeah, well, that's why I figured this
it's not me saying like, oh, base, like women, women defective defective is kind of a nasty way of putting it. Less apt, less ordered towards thinking or reasoning in this way. But yeah, I think for me personally, I'm very convinced from my study of the tradition, that when it comes to proper prayer and proper meditation, that just like in any other sphere of knowledge, we start with the sort of material and sensible and imaginative faculty. We start there by like forming an image, and then from forming an image, we're able to reason from there to think of the significance of that thing. We're not like angels where we just reason in a purely spiritual or immaterial way. So I think with my kids, once they get to the age in which they are going to be able to and be obliged to meditate on the passion, then they're going to need to be able to form those images of the passion. That's obviously going to come through things like the crucifix, but it's going to, I think, come in a more efficacious way through watching something like the Passion of Christ. My parents, we had a movie. It was called The Miracle Maker. It was kind of like a kiddish version of the events of Holy Week, and we watched that from before probably since I was born. We were watching that every single Good Friday. So I do have for me, like, there was something like that in which I was able to, like, in my own way, attach on.
There's a Lego Passion. That's
oh my goodness.
So if you have like a 4-year-old and you want to introduce them to it.
Yeah, well, my 3-year-old's an autist, so my 3-year-old is like boiling pasta at 3 years old. So he's I don't know what to do with him, man.
My 6-year-old likes to lecture me on black holes, strange matter, quarks, graviton, like.
Just Jason's 11-year-old tells him, like Jason said something. Jason made a joke to his family the other day. He's like, "Yeah, we didn't land on the moon." His son goes, "That's what I'm talking about." Like, it's finally awesome. I go, that kid's got good instincts, Jason. Good boy. But so a few people pointed out that Our Lady at Fatima showed hell to Jacinta and
Lucia and Francisco.
Yeah, and Francisco was only what, like 6 or 5?
6 or 7, something like that.
Yeah, I've actually heard more moderate, modern-minded priests use this as an example of something about Fatima that they don't believe, because they couldn't imagine that a young child would be shown images of hell. But it's like, if a 7-year-old can go to hell, which a 7-year-old can go to hell, then certainly a 7-year-old can meditate on that possibility. I don't know why that would be a problem.
Well, I grew up in a house where, like, God's mercy was extremely pronounced, and my mom did teach us about hell, though, but she was like so cautious about it and like didn't want to like. But I found that just like telling your children the truth, and even from a young age, like even when they were 5 or 6, teaching them about mortal sin, and mortal sin separates us from God's love. And that is where you just have eternal separation from God. And that is what hell is. Like, really explaining it to them when they're young, they grasp it.
Maddie, so I brought him to that stupid movie.
The Minecraft
movie. Yeah. Yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I brought him to the Minecraft movie, and after the movie he goes, "Dad, is the guy who played Steve Catholic?" I'm like, "No, not at all." He goes, "We need to pray for him so he can get to heaven." So he almost any new person, he's like, "Are they Catholic?" I'm like, a lot of times it's no. He's like, "We need to pray so they can get to heaven."